Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Probably got a name like Old Smoke.
Yes, I'd like to call to order the Parks and Cemetery Committee. Members of the committee are Mr. Kelly Ricklick, Mr. Dan Lanzer, alternate Mr. Jimmy Sellenwright, and myself, Mitch Pace. This is my first committee meeting, so I think I got everything down. But roll call, Mr. Ricklick,
Present.
Mr. Lanzer, We're
The
good?
sound works, yes.
and myself, Mitch Pace, is here. The purpose of this meeting is to bring the fellow council members, city officials, and guests up to speed regarding the Field 1 Turf Tuscarora Diamond Project that will be happening at Tuscarora Park. So Mr. Ricklick here, if nobody has any questions right now, he's going to present the project. And if you got any questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Councilman Pace. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. The project we're taking on, us 7 committee members, was to turf Tuscarora Park, ball diamond number 1. We go by Turf Tuscarora Diamond. We go by the committee for the love of the game. Members of the committee is myself and Tom Farbizo with the engineering and construction, Mr. Pace with the fundraising. Contact and mailing is Mr. Ed Marsh and my wife Sharon Ricklick. And facilities is Ed Burrill and Chase Hostetler, which also takes care of the website, which is not up yet, but we'll be getting that up very shortly after we get all the 501c3s from the Tuscarora Park Foundation, which we are using for the funding mechanism for this project for tax exemption. The reason we would try to do this, in Ohio, baseball is a very suffering sport due to the weather. Approximately 50% of the games are usually rained out, and then which makes you play doubleheaders and back your games all up. And that also is a cost effect to the city, because they'll spend all day getting a field ready, and at 4:30 it rains, all that manpower hour is wasted. So with that, we thought, we need to do something about that. Also with that, the time of maintaining the field in between is expensive. Maintaining the grounds around it is expensive. So if we can use some of that expense money to put into facilities that we can make a low maintenance and a complex that is very usable by all ages of public, it would be beneficial not only to the park and recreation, the city, and our community. So what we did is we started about 5 years ago, Mr. Farbizo and myself, with the dream of getting this complex and what should this complex look like. During that time, when we kept getting ready to bring this to the floor, other projects came ahead of it. And we said, okay, the basketball courts, the tennis courts were ahead of us, so we had to wait. We did not want to compete against any other project. The Southside Park, there were so many projects that come in a row. Finally, we got started, and then the pickleball came. But I told Tom and I are getting too old for this, so we had to get started, but we would not start fundraising until the pickleball was finished, and that's where we are right now. Pickleball completed, and so we started to get everything in line, and that's where we got the committee together and started having meetings and getting this together. So a little bit about what the fields will be looking like. We're doing a full renovation of the whole complex with in mind of the other neighbors that butt up against the baseball diamond. RTY, the old batting cages, they want to put some more rides there. First Town Days, they have no space in right field of the baseball diamond, but along that line, they can only have small vendors there, and they were looking for a place that they could put more vendors. The baseball practice field, we're just going to try to give them a little more space so they can do some other items there. And with that in mind, we come up with a project and a design of the project with our design engineering team of Diverside Engineering, which is Chris Bauer and Brian Stahl. Making sure everybody gets the right information. We have our media and press release Cheyenne Carroll, who has helped us with this also. And with that complex being, with taking everybody into consideration, how to go about this project. Yes, it's an enormous project, and there's no way, any way we're going to fund that as a one phase. So we looked at it with the engineers and other complexes, traveled different parts of the state, looking at different places, and we put it into a three-phase complex. Phase one would be a infield, turfed, new dugouts, new backstop, relocate the lights that are where the dugouts should be, and get those in position where they'll end up at the end of the project on phase three. Also coming with that, we are trying to get a mechanism so it's not always us putting our hand out. We want to earn some money ourselves, so we put part of phase one is a scoreboard. The scoreboard to raise advertising money so we can help fund this, and not only help fund this, once it's complete, help maintain it, and with the thought process, not just maintaining this ball field, maintain other projects within this Tuscarora Park also. We believe the revenue that can come in from that scoreboard can, once it's complete, not only satisfy the needs of the ball diamond, but also help other projects in that Tuscarora Park. So it's a win for everybody. And for RTY, by moving the field in, they can get the rides in. And part of that also is the sanitary sewer that will be in there because we're adding restrooms to that facility. We'll add a lateral to their area right behind the amphitheater that if they would like in the future, they could hook onto the sanitary and have restrooms right behind the amphitheater. So we're trying to help and take in consideration of everybody around us so it's not, we do a project and then somebody wants to do something, you have to tear something out you just did. We don't want to do that. We want to build something that everybody can utilize and add to it to make it a better facility. So phase one is that. Phase two would be new stands. The stands are deteriorating, but we'll make the stands the second phase. And with the thought process of the stands is to make it handicap ADA compliant so wheelchairs can come in and see ball games also. Right now, if you come to a ball game, the wheelchair people are going to be on the road behind or in the grass area behind the stands, which is not always the best place to watch a game from when people stand up in front of you, so it makes it hard. So with this, we have also in the design to meet ADA compliant, add some restrooms, concession stand, and a small press box. Also, the stands will have some covered area right behind home plate for some shade, which will have stadium seating. But along that, on each side of third base and first base will be bench seating. So that would be phase two. Phase three, which is the most expensive, because whether you realize or not, an outfield of a baseball diamond is larger than a football field in square footage. So the larger this cost is in the outfield. But you can play a lot of baseball games with a wet outfield, but you can't play any games with a wet infield. So that's our mindset there. In the final phase will also be the bullpens, home and visitors. The batting cage will be attached to the bullpen of the home side. So during the game, ball players can use it. When the game's over, the public can use it from the outside, so there's access to it both ways. Also in there is for an area to keep the equipment to maintain that ball field in left field. And above that, on top, it's going to make it so it's a deck with a covering, so you have like a pavilion type that you could have picnics up there and watch a ball game and also have a get-together, a party to help also fund some the ball diamond itself. With that, moving forward, the fence will be all new. It'll be all black coated chain link fence. But we're moving the fence in and taking it up. The fence will be approximately 16 feet high. We're going to move it in about 15 feet in left and right field and about 23 feet in center field. So with that, yes, the field is going to be a little tighter, but also saving about $100,000 on turf. Was the mindset, raise the fence, make balls come off of the fence rather than a fly ball going back and being a caught ball. It's going to make a more offensive game is what we're trying to look at, and also make it more exciting. Also within mind, we want to make it so not only is it made for the major league, 90 feet bases and 60 feet 6-inch pitching mound, We want to make it so Little League game could be played on there. So we're putting base paths at 60 feet, 70 feet, 80 feet, and 90 feet. The permanent mound will be a 60 feet, 6 inch. We are going to have a portable mound put in, which will be able to be moved for the smaller age groups to play on there. And with that in mind, is another fundraising mechanism is holding tournaments there, so we can have more cash coming in to help renovate and continue on with the projects. So there's nothing worse that I believe as being a former water superintendent, buildings ground supervisor, maintenance supervisor in schools is having a facility and it sits idle. It is not a mechanism, it's mine. It's not mine, it's ours. So the more people, the more athletes, the more individuals that can utilize this field, it's better for everyone, and it can be, all your attention can be put onto that field so you can save money as taking care of your complex. I think when I talked to Rod, he averages 2 men, 8 hours a day to maintain that field out there. And if it rains, you might as well took that money and threw it out the window. So we feel, talking with Rod and Chase, a turf and some concrete underneath the bleachers is a better mechanism to maintain, have a low maintenance field. Also with the mind is the restrooms in there, and restrooms will also be in the dugouts. So the ball players will be in the field, be using their restrooms, and the public will have restrooms on the outside. They always ask, when can we do this? It's when funding's available. We're doing all kinds of mechanisms. Our first deposit into the fund, there was 2 deposits. Rod doesn't have the second one yet because I still have it in my possession, was a $5,000 donation. And then the funding that we raised from the ticket sales from the High State Notre Dame game was $3,330 after we paid for the tickets. So in 1 week, we raised $8,330. So we're pretty good. We're getting started. I know there's a few other individuals have reached out, but we want to make sure we have our 501c3, which is done by the Park Foundation, Tuscarora Park Foundation. We have that. We have to get everything in line so everyone can have their tax deduction. And we're going to have it on the Facebook to have a link to the website. They're just working out once a website that you can donate through the website, that it goes directly to that account. Mr. Ernest, president of the foundation, is working with his IT guy to get that, and then they'll give us the go-ahead, and then that will be a go. And then that's when we'll release our, I think Facebook is live now? No? Okay, Facebook will go live, and so will our website go live at that time. We'll make announcements, so keep everybody informed. And during this project, we'll come and make periodic updates to everyone, not only here, to the Park Board, the Park Foundation. We'll do a monthly update with everyone. So this is not my project, it is our project to benefit our community. So one of our biggest fundraisers at the beginning will be our pledge cards will be going out to former ball players, coaches, statisticians, which we already have the database together. Over 900, I think it's over 900 ball players, coaches, and statisticians. So with that, hopefully we can get a good start with that. We also have applied for a grant. They have been back in touch with us to get some more information to how we plan on using that money on phase 1. So hopefully we can get that portioned, and number 1 item we'll be putting up will be the scoreboard. So it starts generating cash for us. So if anybody goes out there, you'll see some stakes have been laid out. The engineers have been there to survey it to get the elevations. So again, we can put the fence at the right elevation so when they do the rest phases, we're not tearing something out that we paid to put in. So that money's not wasted. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Yes, Mr. Selden.
How long would, if the funding was available, how long is it projected for each phase?
Phase 1, if we had the dollars right today,
Yeah.
we could not start until the end of next baseball season due to field turf is already booked. They're booked the rest of this year, so that hurts. We would not try to do this project before the season. That would be a complete disaster. And my project would probably be in the drain by then. So the goal right now is to start at the end of next baseball season, regardless if it's high school, a summer league program that's using it, whatever it is, when they're finished their last day, that's when we want to be on the books to do phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be a little bit more of a challenge due to it, which will be involved with the service director due to the sanitary sewer and those type of things. So there's going to be a lot more city involvement there. This basically was just with Rod. The mayor's very aware of everything going on, but it's not going to take the city in effect. So I think phase 2 will be probably a 6-month, what I'm hoping, again, at the end of a baseball season, start excavating. I want the bleachers to make sure the bleachers are present in January, February, available to be put in place. So I know that's bad weather time, but I want them to be available somewhere that we can get them there, so we can have bleachers for the following baseball season. Then the final phase, which is the most expensive and probably the longest one, again, that would probably, hope God that we have good weather, do it again at the end of a baseball season, and it could be ready for the fall baseball season. So, right, so you figure off-season, 3 phases. Money raising, I believe we can do this first phase in a year. Second phase may take a little longer. Third phase, hopefully people like what they see and they want to complete it. I can tell you right now, I've had more support than I've ever could believe we're going to get on this project. Have reached out to me, and I know the other members have been contacted. What can we do to help? Let us get ready, and then we're going and seeing each one of those individuals. So, okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Fate.
There's gonna be a 16-foot high fence in the outfield,
Yes, there is.
like a green monster, huh?
It's going to be, well, it's going to be a black chain link fence monster, is what it's going to be. But moving in, you're still going to have to hit a ball 310, 20 feet to get it over the fence.
Okay.
Yeah, but what it's going to be is those fly balls that get caught at the fence are going to bounce off the fence, and now you're going to have to play baseball. So that's it's trying to make a more exciting game, so.
All right. I definitely like them on the sides, because it'll cut down on. getting-
Also on the sides, there'll be netting put up to protect the people in the park, so everybody understands. We're taking that, netting will be on both right field and partial of left field line. But right field, like where the batting cages, they like the batting cages are still there to protect the people. It still goes the same way. Behind home plate is netting. There's no more fence. There's only fence is around the batting cages and the little areas. But behind where you're visually watching it, it's like going to Cleveland Stadium. You'll be looking through a net. No fence anymore. Okay?
Kelly, are you putting the fence in phase 1?
The portion of it, just a portion.
Oh, just portion of the
Unless-
scoreboard is, okay, I
and-
got you.
Well, that's part of the grant.
I
The
got
money for the grant, the money comes in on the grant, that's what they're looking for. We've been in touch with them. I've been in touch with Diversified and Vasco, that we have to get that elevation right, because you have to pull a curb with that fence.
Sure.
If we just get the scoreboard now, we won't put that in, and we'll put the fence in without the curb, knowing that we just have to relocate those, yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're only gonna mess with the area where the
That's
scoreboard. The scoreboard will be a 25-foot long
Okay,
scoreboard.
that fence.
Yeah, but, yeah, we're gonna mess, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
I got you. Gotcha.
And we have a lot of people that's doing the labor, and we only paying for material. And the fence contractor is one of those individuals helping us out there to get us, everybody's trying to help us get rolling. If we get rolling, I think that's where the momentum will be,
Oh, you'll get momentum.
yeah.
Yeah. A project like that.
Yes, Mr. Holland? Yes, I'm going to show you pictures, that's what I was going to show.
That's one of 2.
Right, okay. What, do you want to do two?
I have 2 questions.
Okay. The renovation will show the complex, are just some snippets, okay? This is the left field where the little storage areas with the picnic area above. Down below is the new entranceway you'll come in. The gate will be right across from the band shell end of the football field. They'll be across from each other is where they'll come in. Looking from on the hill where a lot of people like to sit, the idea is to use a wrought iron fence so you'll still be able to see through, so the people that want to sit up there in the trees can still sit and watch a game. So it's not going to be you have to come to us to get in. So that's a very good shot. It shows the concession stand, the restrooms, and the covered area over the stadium seating. Upper right is the shot looking from right field into home plate. Again, this is another, that's the one there. This is a close-up of the concession stand and the press box. Is some renderings. This is phase one. Will be 15 feet behind the infield, designated infield design. So we have a seam in the outfield, not a seam right at the edge. When we go and look at some fields and got that seam right there at the edge, some of your ball players play on that line, and you got that transition there. So we wanted to give them so they don't have to be on that transition. So we're going to move the transition 15 feet in the outfield. The dugouts, you can see, if you come look at them, you can see where the current dugout is and where the new dugout will be placed.
Kelly, those dugouts will be,
Those dugouts will be down two
Down in
steps.
there.
They're 2 steps down. So they'll be down lower so we can have seating lower so you can see better there also, so. Phase two with the bleachers input. The old bleachers are here. We'll excavate out because that's the path where the sanitary sewer will be around. The last sanitary sewer goes on the end of the first base dugout, which is the visitors dugout, where the restroom is, and then we'll put a lateral heading over towards the amphitheater, so if they want to hook on, it'll be there for them. Retaining wall behind, metal bleachers with a center ramp. So the ramp to get into the seating will be in the center. There'll be stairs on both ends also. So you can come up the middle, or you can come up on third base dugout or first base dugout. Stadium seating in the middle, the 3 handicap seating with companion seating with it, and the bench seating also. Phase 3 is the completion, which shows everything. It shows the new batting cage behind the bullpens. Home team has 2, visitors get 1. Also with that is portable bleacher area. The stadium has 2 bleachers that usually get taken to Southside Park all the time, haul them back and forth. Those are the same ones that go over to Dover when we play Dover. They could have a home here, so they only have to take from the stadium over to here for baseball, and they can pull them straight back across. So the wear and tear of taking it down over the hill, plus the seating's being utilized again, being used for 2 complexes to help each other. You can see where there's placeholders in here. Diversified Engineers also working with RTY for the rides. So we have placeholders in there for where the rides could be. And you can see where the fence currently is, and you can see where we're going to give them more property to be used on the park side. This fence is actually coming in just a little bit more after we went out and looked at it. If you go in the outfield to see where it ramps up, we are trying to stay away from that so we don't have to do any excavating. We can save on some excavating. We're going to let that ramp there. It also can be a place where we can put some drainage so we can catch some water from coming onto the field and get it over to the storm sewers. The benefit is there is 2 large storm sewers to go through here to help. We can help utilize those, and maybe with the drainage. Again, that would be Diversified working with that with the service director to see how we can do with that. Because those would go through just a portion of the outfield is where they go through, because they come from almost under the bleachers to the band shell side.
box.
Yeah, press box, right. So that would be the 3 phases. And the lighting will be changed. We also had Musco already come and do a lighting study on it. Right now, with the technology, they're pretty sure they can use those same poles in the location they're at, with us moving the 2 poles back. That's right where the dugouts are. So there would be LED lighting at that time, which again would save money. Because I'm sure the lighting bill out there when they light those is going to be a lot more than what an LED is. So that's the 3 phases. If the funding is there, and I'm looking for you, Mr. Holland, for your second question and a donation.
Well, it's exciting that you think that I'm in a position to support something like this. I think that's great.
Red truck?
I really enjoy baseball. I've been out and watched Councilman Pace play, Councilman Selden Wright play. They are
We won,
very
right?
good players.
You didn't mention the mayor.
All I did was coach first base.
The mayor is the coach.
Okay,
He is the management of the team.
yes.
But I'm glad to see a plan like this, and certainly a lot of it well thought out. And I support what you're attempting to do, and certainly will work to try to help secure some funding.
I appreciate that very much.
But the question I guess I have, the biggest problem that Tuscarora Park has, period, is parking. And I just wonder if there was any consideration given before you got to the bottom line of perhaps building this facility at another site, like the South Side Park, which would then create additional parking, which Tuscarora Park desperately needs.
Parking is definitely an issue, but baseball in Tuscarora Park is long-standing and going to ride there for as long as I can help that. The idea is great. Is parking a problem? Yes. Do I have ideas for parking? Yes. Is it going to cost money? Yes, it is. So, consideration to moving this to the south side, I would not like to see that field ever leave there. I think that's one of the attractions to get public and outside people to come here. The entertainment there and the funding that would come to our area is more receptive, I think, at Tuscarora Park than it is at Southside Park. That's my personal opinion. I like seeing the football field there. I like seeing the baseball field there. I like seeing the tennis and the basketball courts. I like seeing pickleball that's now there. I'd like to see new restrooms for pickleball. I think that'd be a very good addition there. But parking is definitely an issue, and I don't have the answer. With space is space. You know, I'd love to fill the lagoon and make it parking. I'd love to close Wabash, make it parking, but I'd get shot. To put a retention area over there with an underground storm tech system, just the top of my head, I'd just guess about $10 million.
Just clean.
Yeah.
I think
Just clean the lagoon.
watching the high school teams play, it's exciting. Some of those players are truly outstanding. I just enjoy baseball, period, and want to support and encourage everybody to support this effort.
I see. I'm running out on time, and I'm getting from the behind stage, the music's going to start playing. From the guy in the cane, and he may hook me, so I don't want to get up. Yes,
I have
Saunders?
other questions, but I'll email you real
That's
quick.
fine. Okay.
If you only have money for phase one, will it be usable? Is the turf in
yes.
phase one?
Yes.
And how much is phase one?
Phase one, with everything, with the turf, the scoreboard and everything, is $500,000. Turf alone is $325,000.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
So the scoreboard was, I thought that's, okay, I got it first phase. Okay,
If you go to look at Dover, if you want to see it, just a turf on the outfield, infield, you go to Dover, you go to
Right.
Indian Valley, Meadowbrook. I don't know, did they do their? I don't know if Meadowbrook did all theirs, but most high schools are going to just a turf infield. Again, and I can tell you, Indian Valley, their alumni paid for theirs. Dover, they had individuals pay.
and this is private funding, you envision?
This is everybody funding. This is, everybody's got skin in this. And there's a lady in the room right now that I'm chewing on to get some. Okay.
We're running really close to your
Yes,
time. so-
we're running close on time, and I don't want to get
Any
her
more
mad at
questions
me
or motions?
tonight.
Oh, so moved. All right, we're good.
So, anybody else questions, just email me or Councilman Pace, and we can
Yeah.
answer their questions.
I'll give Amy time
I make a motion to
during my report.
Here, I beat you.
I did.
Kelly,
Thanks, Kelly.
Kelly, probably get
This meeting of New Philadelphia City Council will come to order. Would you please rise and remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance? Father, we gather again here as New Philadelphia City Council to serve the citizens of New Philadelphia. We just pray your guidance in our decision-making here this evening. Father, we continue to pray for our citizens. We pray for their health. We pray for their safety. We pray for all those who are serving in the military. Just be with them. We also pray for our policemen and firemen. We just ask for their safety as they do their jobs. Lord, we just, this week, school starts back in. We just pray for a successful and a great learning year for our students in the New Philadelphia school system. We just pray for their safety. We pray for the administrators and the teachers. We just ask us all in your son's name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome all those who are also watching our council meeting by streaming this evening. We welcome all those and roll call.
Mr. Holland.
Present.
Mr. Lanzer.
Here.
Mrs. May.
Present.
Mr. Pace.
Here.
Mrs. Ramos.
Here.
Mr. Ricklick.
Present.
Mr. Seldenwright.
Here.
All right, everybody's had a chance to review the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda for this evening's council meeting?
Council members, may I approach? I don't know if you folks know me or not. My name is Doug Sexton. I am a citizen of New Philly for 40 years, and I have a proposal I would like to make to council if I may approach.
Point of order.
Uh,
Stop it,
point-
yeah.
We have a council comments and for citizens, so we get to there, then you can talk.
Thank you very
If
much.
you can have seats, sure. All right. Anybody, motion to accept the agenda? That's Mr. Rickley. Need a second. Mr. Lonzo. Discussion by administration, council. Roll call.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mrs. May.
Yes.
Mr. Pace.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Seldenwright.
Yes.
All right. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes that Ms. Courtwright has sent out. Are there any additions or corrections to our minutes? Hearing none, I accept a motion to approve. Okay, thank you, Mrs. May. The second, Mrs. Ramos, thank you. Any discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mrs. May.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Holland.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Pace.
Yes.
Mr. Ricklick.
Yes.
Mr. Seldenwright.
Yes.
All right, correspondence, Ms. Courtwright.
To Clerk of Council, this is from Treasurer Tom Gerber, dated August 9th, 2022. This is the City of New Philadelphia Investment and Savings Report for July of 2022. To council members from Mayor Day, dated August 11th, 2022. This is an email, and it's titled Rosenberry Foundation's Grant to the Pickleball Court Construction, and it states council members Tom Farbizo has informed me that the Rosenberry Foundation has given a $35,000 grant for the construction of the 4 pickleball courts at Tuscarora Park. That's $10,000 more than what was requested. 2 council members from Mayor Day, this is dated August 17th, 2022. This is a forwarded email from New Philadelphia City School Superintendent Amy Wentworth titled Track Reopening. To Law Director Fate from President Kemp, this is to Law Director Fate and President Kemp from Mayor Day. This is dated August 18th, 2022. This is an email titled New Philadelphia Mitigation Plan Resolutions with a sample resolution as the attachment. President Kemp asked Mr. Holland to take this issue into his committee. From Councilwoman Ramos, this is to President Kemp. This is dated August 22nd, 2022. This is an email, and it's titled, Please Assign to My Zoning and Annexation Committee. And it states, Hi Don, the Planning Commission approved the rezoning request for parcel 43-04799-000 from industrial to business for the Tuscarawas County Board of Elections. Would you please assign this to my committee, and President Kemp assign this issue to Mrs. Ramos's committee? And to council and administration from Mayor Day, dated August 22nd, 2022. This is the mayor's report, and that concludes correspondence for this evening, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Move into our administrative reports. First up is Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, fellow administrators, and guests. A couple things I want to touch on in the report that I sent to you earlier today. I'm happy to report that the city has cleared the first hurdle in the effort to build a bike and walking trail to Roswell. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Mineral Resources Management has approved the city's request to apply for a federal Abandoned Mine Land Economic Revitalization Grant, an AMLR grant, to construct the trail. It'll be built on the city-owned railroad right-of-way that extends from Beaver Avenue northeast, east along State Route 39 to the Rossville Village limit. The route traverses an area where deep slope and strip mines were once located. Preliminary estimates put the cost of the project at around $3.2 million. Project assistance is being provided by Rural Action's New Philadelphia office. The next step is to complete the application for funding and submit it to ODNR by the September 16th deadline. The AMLR grant program is very competitive, and ODNR said 24 other communities received approval to apply for funding, so we are one of 24. The Roswell Trail was included in the city's overall bicycle and pedestrian connectivity plan. The active shooter training sessions held this past weekend at New Philadelphia High School were successful. Police Chief Mike Goodwin reported that to me today. All road patrol officers participated in the training. Members of the police auxiliary unit volunteered to be actors in the training. School teachers and staff members were trained on how to respond to active shooter threats. And I'd like to thank Captain Ty Norris for organizing and supervising the training, and for all the participants for making a commitment to this effort. Captain Norris is also advising local churches that want to develop or update their security plans. And Mr. President, I'd like to give the remainder of my time now to New Philadelphia School Superintendent Amy Wentworth, so she can give us an update on school activities and what to expect in the new school year. Amy?
Amy, you have to turn that on. I think I turned it off. It's on the side.
Sit down.
It
All
doesn't
right.
amplify, it just.
I think it's on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. First of all, thank you very much, Mayor Day and President Kemp, for inviting me here this evening. I appreciate the opportunity to highlight some things that we've done this summer and just some things that we're ready to kick off for the new school year. We have welcomed back our teachers at this point, and our students will be returning to us on Wednesday, so we're very excited about that. Highlights from work that we've done this summer: we have done some major heating and cooling repairs that were necessary in our buildings. Almost every building has a new boiler or has had their boiler system replaced. And using the COVID ESSER dollars, we were also able to replace many of the air conditioning units that went out in different locations within our buildings. So all of that got finished this summer. Except one air conditioning unit that still needs to be delivered. It's been back ordered multiple times, but is anticipated to come in next week. We still have the boiler project we're going to do at the gymnasium. That's going to be pushed off until next summer. That was a supply chain issue that caused that to be pushed back. Another exciting thing that we got done this summer is we repaired the greenhouse at the high school. That is right on the front of the building. It is a space that has not been functional for years. It has basically been a storage space, and it has been repaired. It is now no longer leaking into the library and able to be utilized by our staff and students. So we're excited about that. If you have been around and looked at any of our buildings, you can see that from the outside they look really, really good. Just basic things like mulching. We replaced some window screenings. We've done some new asphalt and painting. And really want to give my hats off to the buildings and grounds crew. They've done a fantastic job this summer. And of course, our highlight project this summer, the track at Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium, is complete, except for a little bit of painting. We still need to put the lane numbers in and the relay exchange zones. We just simply ran out of time before football season. So we will be returning either at the end of the season or maybe at a point when we have an away game and we can take a couple days. We'll have to shut the track down probably for 2 days to do that, and then it'll be completely finished. Upcoming for this school year, I'm glad to report from an administrative standpoint that we have a lot of stability. We have no new administrators, and last year we had 15 of our 20 administrative positions that had somebody new in that position. So just having that stability takes us to a much better place already. We do have 14 new teachers this year and multiple staff members in other positions, but I am happy to report that I believe as long as we get this one last hire done tomorrow, we will have every position fully staffed for the school year next year. And again, that was a challenge last year. We didn't have a single school day when we had it fully staffed last year, so that's an exciting place to be. We were able to add a elementary literacy position this year, as well as a social-emotional learning position for our elementary students and a behavior support specialist for our K-12 students. So those positions should really help support the needs of students. You know, school is about reading and writing, but it's about a lot more than reading and writing, and we really are focusing on the whole child and making sure we have all of those supports in place. As far as school itself, I anticipate, I hope, I'm very optimistic that it's going to look relatively normal this year for the first time in 3 years. Knock on wood and anything else that I can. That is our plan and that is our hope. Athletically, we have joined a new sports league, the Ohio Cardinal Conference. And while the travel may be a bit farther than the leagues that we've been in, the school districts that we are playing are very similar in demographics to New Philadelphia. So we anticipate that we will be very competitive. Very exciting this year in the school district. We are starting the process of strategic planning to develop a new strategic plan that will guide the district for the next 3 to 5 years. We are actually working with the Impact Group to facilitate those strategic plans. And you may have noticed we've already had some virtual community meetings. Starting the 1st of September, there will be an online survey that goes out. And we will be also making some personal phone calls to community leaders to get feedback. You know, what is important to the community? What should our goals be? Where are our strengths? Where are our weaknesses? We feel like it's vital to hear what our stakeholders want from the school district, and that will become our strategic plan. Of course, we've also got sessions with staff, with students. We've already had sessions with the board and the administrators, and all of this information will be combined to create the goals and action steps for our district for the next few years. And just finally, a note about safety. I do also want to thank Captain Norris. He worked with our entire staff on Friday, and then, of course, he did the live safety drills over the weekend. Tell you, it is such a comfort and so nice to know that we have such a close working relationship with our safety forces in the city. As you know, you read and learn about school safety, that's not the case everywhere. And I firmly believe that our relationship with our safety forces already puts us in a much better place than many other school districts. We are tightening down some procedures within the district. We are reviewing all of our safety plans. We are finding lots of places where we can update them. We are requiring that all adults wear their identification badges at all times. And also, we are working on the $100 million school safety grant that Governor DeWine has announced. We're going to be applying for that grant to obtain some more funding to upgrade some safety features in our buildings. So that's kind of a snapshot of where we've been this summer and what we're looking forward to this year. And I do appreciate the opportunity to share that with you tonight.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions for Mayor Day or Amy? Yes, Ms. Ramos.
Amy, could you expand on the social emotional learning instructor for the elementary, exactly what they will be doing?
Sure. They will be talking about things like character development, like resiliency, like grit. We have a standard curriculum that we're following. It's the second step curriculum, and it goes through coping mechanisms and growth mindset. So we have lessons. She'll be working with grades 3, 4, and 5, and just helping to develop those traits in those students to enable them to function better.
Is that included in the general curriculum, or is that something that is extra that parents can opt in or out?
It's in the general curriculum. It's in the special schedule rotation. So along with art and music and PE and technology, one day they will have social emotional learning skills.
I just wanted to, my kids participate in the social emotional program, and it was something that you are asked whether you want to participate in it or not. I signed both mine up. I think it's a fantastic program. I'm really thankful for it and what you're doing. So I can vouch for it. My kids are in it, and I think it's a great program.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank you for, you've been a tremendous stabilizing influence, I think, on our school system. I want to thank you for coming here and keeping council informed the way that you have, and informing the public like you did. I'm really looking forward to running on that new track. It looks fantastic. And I just appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you very much. I do want to mention, too, if anyone's interested in learning more about the Second Step curriculum, if you want to Google that, the curriculum is all listed online, and it outlines the units for each grade level. So it's very accessible to anyone who's interested in more information.
Is it on your online, your website?
It is. There's not a link currently on our website,
Okay.
but you can Google it and find it very easily.
Okay.
Second Step.
All right, thank you.
Amy, thank you.
Just
for
one more
coming.
question.
Oh, yes, Mr. Pace.
Governor DeWine signed House Bill 99 in June, allowing teachers to carry, conceal carry. Right? Are teachers able to carry at New Philly, or have you had anybody ask if they could carry or do the training to carry?
Currently, as far as House Bill 99 and Governor DeWine signing that bill, they're still working out the requirements for that. It'll probably really be about a year before that goes into place. But with regard to New Philadelphia specifically, the board has made no move to make a resolution along those lines. It would require board action for us to venture down that path. And at this point, there doesn't seem to be an appetite for that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Again, Amy, thank you for taking time to join
Thank
us
you.
this evening. Any questions for the mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Again, it is good to have a relationship with the schools because we are the same town, so it's always good to get an update from our superintendent. So thank you again, Amy. We'll move on to Service Director, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I think everybody sees that, has noticed it. We're doing the permanent repairs over here on the sinkhole at Second and Ashwood. They was in today, got the biggest part of the earth moved. They've got the bottom pieces of the precast manhole sitting there. The plan is then, they got material to put back in the ditch also. So tomorrow, the pump will be set up down at Fair Avenue. We got a pump around that section, so that'll be hard pumped with a 12-inch line. It'll dump out here at Second and East High right in front of the church. So tomorrow's road closure will go from, it'll also go from, on the east side, it'll go at Second Drive and on East High. And then on this side here, we're gonna come up to just past, just east of the entrance into Guide, because they still have a service tomorrow and some stuff Wednesday, and then we can still get into City Hall also. So High then is naturally limited for Tuesday, Wednesday is the, in the perfect world, that's what we'll do. Once we pull the pump out, the state will keep it'll shrink down, get closer to just a ditch. So again, the whole process should not last no longer than Friday, is what they feel right now. So if there's any questions or anything on that, feel free to call during the day or sometime this week. But right now, it went great today. I think the biggest issue I really think myself is gonna be, there's a 2-inch water line that's right there and exposed. I've got a feeling that, like last time, we put the earth back in, tamped down, and it started a water leak. So I got a feeling that's gonna be what's gonna happen this time also. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best on that. But anyways, again, that should be done by Friday, barring weather, but I looked at the weather, and it looks good for the rest of the week. Also, an update on the CDBG project, which we all know is the sidewalks on 2nd Street Northeast from North Avenue to Minnick, and then the curbs up at 2nd Street that we finished up there. That's all completed. And if you look out on 2nd Street Northeast out here, the only thing that's needed to be done yet is the approaches from the road, from the road up to the sidewalks. So they've done a tremendous job. I'd look for them to wrap that up this week, probably do some lawn restoration. We're still looking at a couple of change orders they had, and we still have a little bit of money left, so we may end up going around on North Avenue on that north side, which that's the side that's LMI eligible. So stay tuned for that. I'll give an update on that if we have some extra money there. Like I say, they had a couple change orders today, so we'll see where that stands. And like I say, we want to use all that grant money for sure. So again, I'll update that at the next meeting. Also, in some, I guess, some exciting news, the Petco store has confirmed that they will be moving into a outlot at Menards. So when you go into the Menards, it's the first one on the right. They've got a new concept. I urge everyone to look at it online. Very neat building. It's almost like a barn siding. It's really neat. They opened the first one about 2 months ago, the new design in Texas. So that'll be the same design here. They're having some issues with steel, like everybody else. But other than that, the new design is great. And so I look for them to, they want to start at the end of the year or as late as January or February to see what they can get done. But again, that was just finalized last week. So that's definitely coming. And that's in my report.
All right, any questions for Mr. McAbeer? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Safety Director, Mr. Popham.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
All right.
I just have one question. I should have asked this earlier. Is there any plans to do, I know we did the high school active shooter drill. Are we doing anything with elementary schools? Because it might be a little bit different.
You'd have to discuss that with Captain Norris.
Okay, all right.
All right. Auditor and Treasurer, I move on to the Law Director, Mr. Fate.
Thank you, Mr. President. First order of business, I received the resolution from the county for the amounts and rates determined on our tax levies. We get this every year. I've given it to Julie and assigned a resolution number, but I need you, Mr. President, to assign it to a committee. It can go to either special contact or finance committee. Either one of those I think would be fine for it. I think it was special contact we did last year. Didn't you do those, Dan?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we've done special contact in the past. Among the things that I am working on currently is, I've got a meeting later this week with the agency that helped set up our CRA. to bring business in, to discuss about developing an art district in the city of New Philadelphia and what all that entails in terms of being able to serve alcohol, allowing more permits and things of that nature. So I'm gonna work with them to see what we can do there. I'm also working on a rental registration, which would require landlords to register with the city of New Philadelphia their rental units, and we'd be inspecting those units. And the purpose of this is to make sure that our citizens that are living in New Philadelphia are living in quality conditions. I'm not gonna get into the conditions that our firefighters and safety forces are seeing right now, but it's really atrocious. But I know Councilwoman Ramos had asked a while back if there was something we can do to, really go after the slumlords in this area. And that's what this is a purpose of. And we did meet with, I had a meeting with the Housing Board of Appeals, and they signed off on it and thought it was pretty great. We still have to tweak a couple things on it, but that would be the agency that, or that would be the committee that, if you have an appeal on that they would go to. Those are the big things that I'm working on right now. Does anybody have any questions for me?
On the rental registration, are you addressing like how many people can be in a unit?
We're gonna be, every rental unit will be subject to an annual inspection. Once we get in there and we see the conditions they're in, then all of our housing code, fire code,
International property
International Property
management?
Maintenance Code, all that comes into effect. And once we're in there, we can address that. But the conditions that our safety forces are seeing are atrocious. They're going into places to remove somebody who died, and they're having to crawl over trash that's compacted. They're finding that there was not, people were defecating and urinating in buckets because they had no toilets that were operating. And it's just really unsafe conditions for our safety forces. And it's not something that we want to see our citizens living in. And so that's the purpose behind that.
And also in neighborhoods around the city, you have a single family dwelling and there might be 20 people living in there.
Yeah, well,
with one bathroom.
Part of the rental registration, which I'll show the council when it's ready, is we'll have to know who's living there and how many people are living there. So, because they'll be issued a certificate of occupancy for that. Anything else?
All right, Mrs. May, will you take his request into your
Yes.
committee? We'll assign it to you. All right, move on to the board commission reports. Planning Commission, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning Commission's next meeting will be September 13th at 1 PM here in Council's Chamber. And we're developing the agenda for it. And more to report at our next meeting.
All right, Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning Appeals met August 9th at 5 PM here in Council Chambers was one variance request to be heard in non-compliance with 1161.05. First time this ever happened. 4 members were present, and it was 2-2, so it had to be tabled because according to the ordinance, it takes 3 to overturn that. So in the way that the mayor and I have read that and looked at things, we have to have the one member hear it. It's no decision by me because naturally I'm the one that turns it down. So that 5th member has to hear it, and then naturally she'll be making the final decision on that. So once we can make that connection, because our 5th member is in North Carolina for her grandchild. So we're trying to make that happen, probably with either do a Zoom meeting or at least FaceTime. And once we can, we're gonna try to make a special meeting for sure. We don't make the resident wait for that long, because it's a shed and it's a side setback issue. So as soon as we can make that happen, hopefully I can report on that at the next council meeting.
Any questions for Mr. Blackabear? Move on to the Airport Commission, Mr. Seldenwright.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. Park Board, Mr. Pace.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Park and Cemetery Committee met tonight at 7 o'clock. We discussed the Field 1 project that Mr. Ricklick presented very, very nicely and very greatly. So Kelly, great job. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Meeting adjourned at 7:29, and that's the end of my report.
Perfect timing there.
See, Park Board is it.
All right, move on to the Health Board, Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. All right, move on to our council committee reports. Finance, Mr. Ricklick.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. Public Works and Economic Development, Ms. Alonso.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right, Safety, Health and Services, Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right, Zoning and Annexation, Mrs. Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President, and no report.
On to Salary, Mr. Selbright.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was speaking with the auditor after our last meeting, and she had informed me that we had two individuals with 25 years and one individual with 25 years and another with 31 who had retired. So I just wanted to give them a little recognition and thank them for their service, through our great city, and it's a lot of dedicated service. Tanya Dickey, who is an administrative assistant, started in August of '91 and retired last Friday. And Kathy Casebeer, she was the payroll clerk and started in January of 1997 and retired in May of this year. So just want to thank both of them for their service, and that is all. Thank you.
Yeah, again, yes, great job for those two, so they will be missed, so. All right, we'll move on to Parks and our Cemetery, Mr. Pace.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
All right, Contact and Special, Mrs. Bay.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
All right, now, it's open for visitors' comments. The floor is open for visitors. Anyone wishing to address council should rise, state their name and address, and address all comments to the chair. So, sir, in the back, if you come over to the podium.
We need to turn it on. She turned it on.
We need to turn the microphone on, if you would, please, and state your name and address, and.
First, I'd like to apologize to council members and guests for speaking maybe out of turn.
No.
I did not know how council proceeded and thought maybe it was ending, and I thought maybe I was a little late. So forgive me for that. But my name is Doug Sexton. I've been a resident of New Philadelphia for 40 years. Some of you may know me, not many, I don't believe, but many of you may get to know me. I've opened up a business over 19 years ago. The business is Spare Key Locksmith. You may have heard of me. I've been in business now for, like I said, 19 years, and this spring it'll be my 20th anniversary. The reason I've come here tonight to take to council for your consideration a proposal. As you may not have been aware, but maybe most of you are aware, you've had a locksmith in this community for over 40 years, a family that has had their business and served this community very well and commendable, and we've lost most of them. Brian Wright is the only one left. His nephew, Josh, quit and moved on to other things. And it's saddened to even know that they closed their doors and Brian has sold his house and the shop that they had. He is still a locksmith in our community, but he's more mobile like I am. But one thing, I have a shop, and I have got quite a bit of a service there for people, keys and stuff, and a lot of the council members, some of them have come to my shop and have seen it. The problem I'm having, members, is they can't find me. As you know, I live in a residential area and I can only have a 2-foot by 2-foot sign, and I had it out on a mailbox. People still could not see that sign. No matter what, they drive up and down 6th Street and they couldn't find it. If I may approach the council members, I have some maps here for you to look at, if I may. You can pass these maps around. I have highlighted what you folks we'll be looking at. I'm going to pass it over here. And when you pass it down, you can see my house is highlighted in yellow. My house is highlighted in yellow, and you'll see the alley right beside my house in yellow, and how it rides all the way out to Fifth Street and all the way down toward Union Avenue, as you can see by this map here also, if you can't see. But what I propose is, actually, my daughter came up with this idea. She lives down in Zanesville, Ohio. And my daughter one day saw that there was a locksmith in their community. And the locksmith had on their alleyway the sign, it was Locksmith Lane. I went to get permission about doing this. She came up with the idea and said, Dad, why don't you just go ahead and see if you can get, the city to put Locksmith Lane out on the front. That way people can just go down 6th Street and see Locksmith Lane and come to your shop and find you. And I thought it was a really good idea. Since Chad already took the Buffalo idea, I can't do that. So the thing of it is, I thought it would be a really good idea. And I love the name Locksmith Lane because it lets people know there's a locksmith in this alley or in this vicinity. And it runs west or east to west, not north to south. So I know that north to south, they call them drive. East to west is lane. So I'd like to name that alley, has no name for it right now. I would like to name it Locksmith Lane. It's not only a beneficial for the community that I can continue to serve this community like I have for 19 years, but it'll be a public service to them to get locksmith needs, keys, whatever it is that they need for this community like I've been doing. And when I had to go the other day and track down a lady, an elderly lady, because she could not find me, she was walking down 6th Street trying to find me. I had to go get her. So it could be of a better service to the community. And I started thinking, what about police force or ambulance services? It could actually help them find, if they hear Locksmith Lane on a GPS, to be able to find a location to a person's home, because we have had a lot of medical ambulance coming down to my neighbor's home, but she just died. But we do have elderly and some handicapped people in that vicinity, and it may help. So what I'm asking council members to do and to consider, would you please consider naming our unnamed alley Locksmith Lane? It would be of great service to this community, and I can continue to serve this community like I have for 19 years and be of help to people. And thank you for letting me present this.
What I can do, we can assign that committee, Mr. Sexton, to take a look at it, and Mr. Holland, the Safety, Health, and Services, would you take it
I will.
in your committee to review? Thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing this evening.
Thank you.
All right, now, council comments. Any council members wishing to address council this evening? Yes, Mr. Holland.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, the day after our dedication of the pickleball courts, in the morning news, national news, I noticed an article that they had about how pickleball has taken over the United States, how active communities are in developing pickleball courts, and then all of the ancillary things that go with a pickleball court area. I just think that we're being confirmed on a national basis that we're headed in the right direction. Also, the day after that, there was a program on Spectrum News 1 where they identified Cincinnati and Cleveland both as dedicating anywhere from 10 to 20 pickleball courts, which leads me to a number of people who have now contacted me wanting to know when we're going to get pickleball courts in the South park.
Oh,
My neighbors, gentleman that lives, or family that lives next door to me, actually, have been involved in basketball in the community for many, many, many years. And they have a very large basketball court in their backyard. It's concrete, it's very nice, which they have now turned into a pickleball court. I'm just pointing this out because I can see that it's gonna be coming. We need to be thinking about pickleball on the south side too.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, Councilman Holland, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, any other council members? All right, we'll move into our legislative agenda.
There is no legislation on the agenda.
Mark that down. First for me here.
You put that in the
Is there any unfinished or old business that needs to be brought before council this evening? Any new business that needs to be brought before council this evening? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, a motion to adjourn this council meeting.
8:10, thank you. Thanks, everyone.